Hello there YouTube, it's your boy B3, back with another kicking action figure review. Today, we have one that I've used a lot in size comparisons over the past year or so, but I just never got around to reviewing. And recently I've been doing a string of Kamen Rider reviews, and I've finally gotten around to him. It is the Rider Hero Series, number 5, Kamen Rider Saber Dragonic Knight from Bandai. Here is the tag. It's actually a really cool tag. It's got like the kind of storybook thing. And there's Dragon Knight riding the dragon. It's Dragonic Knight, which I think is an issue with translating. Draconic Knight is probably what they wanted, but Dragonic Knight is what we got. Still cool though. Legal stuff on the back. And now we can go in storage. And we can look at the figure himself. Kamen Rider Saber Dragonic Knight. Now, there's a lot about this figure that I think is really cool, and there's a lot about this figure that I think is a huge letdown. One thing that's really cool is that the sabers are in the hands of the Saber characters in the Rider Hero series. I mean, it is in their namesake, specifically his, but a lot of these figures don't come holding a weapon. It's really cool that the ones from Kamen Rider Saber come holding a weapon, and it's separately sculpted, so it really stands out in their hand. You see? It's cool that he has a weapon. These often don't, unless there's some kind of fancy re-release or something. It's great that he has it. Now, let's talk about how the paint on this guy is the biggest possible letdown. So he is a metallic character. This is a metallic form. And that is not represented well. As you can see, he's got a head that's painted this metallic silver, and his chest is painted metallic silver. He's got metallic on his storybook. I didn't really expect all the tiny little details on this thing, but it is metallic at least. But then the arms are just this ugly gray plastic that a sculpt is from. There's a little bit of silver painted on the shoulders, but it doesn't enhance anything. There's a little bit of red painted on him when it should be in a lot of different spots and go all the way around. It does not go all the way around. A lot of the times on these figures, when the back is a little blank, I'm like, that's okay, this is a cheap kid's toy. The back can be a little blank. That's fine. In your display, it's going to be facing forward anyway. But that's really only okay on a kid's toy, but this is a kid's toy at the end of the day, and on this channel, we judge kids' toys by kids' toy standards. But even by kids' toy standards, why is this not metallic? That's just cutting costs, for sure. But also the red. Oh my god, they did such ugly work with the red. It's not even on the front half. It's on the front, like, 45%. See, it doesn't even go all the way to the side. They couldn't even be bothered to do that. Ugh. And don't get me started on this dragon head here. Look at that. They couldn't even make the whole dragon head red. It's ugly. It's really ugly. Why did you do that? And then here you have like things on the upper half are painted the metallic silver, but then below the articulation it's not the metallic silver. It's just really ugly. Kids, I can't imagine kids in Japan seeing this and being excited by the paint job. They'd be like, why isn't he fully metallic? That's a metallic form. That's why it's cool, because it's metallic. Why isn't he metallic? I mean, the sculpt itself is good. The sculpt itself is really good. Yeah, you kind of have the coattails thing sculpted onto the legs, but you expect that in the Action Hero... Not Action Hero. That's Ultraman. I'm thinking of the articulated Ultraman figures. In the Rider Hero series, you kind of expect that, right? I don't know if this is the trade-off for having the cool weapon. I don't know what this is, but... Like when you don't have articulation, well, you have articulation, but when you don't have much articulation and you don't have accessories at all, detail and paint are what you need to fall back on. Right? Especially if you don't have packaging, because you just have a tag that hangs off him. Because, like, I recently have reviewed many of these soft vinyls. I reviewed this one from 2006, which is, look at that. That's like, that doesn't even look like it's the same toy line, paint-wise. Look at that. This was my last review, this Dark Kabuto. You can't even compare. And then you have some, let's say, movie monster series figures, like this Kamen Rider number 0, that came out after Saber, years after Saber. And look how much better this looks than Saber. That's not even that much more. That's just... Look, the belt painted all the way around. The hair on the back painted. Those just tiny little things that make a huge difference. They didn't have to paint that belt all the way around. I probably wouldn't even really complained if the belt came to maybe like here, but they just didn't paint that bit. I would have complained if they didn't paint the hair. But I mean, that's just... It just comes a long way, you know? Once again, when there's not much articulation, there's no accessories, and you aren't really paying for packaging either, cutting the paint is cheap. That's just cheap. And I know they can do better, because I've seen it. But the sculpt itself is really good. It's just painted very, very badly. Articulation-wise, you got 360 on the arms, of course, and on the waist. Mine is a little loose. Not on the waist, but the arms like really wobble, and he did come that way. I'm just letting you know that. That could just be mine. That could just be mine. And I know action figure collectors say that all the time in videos, but that really could just be mine. Because none of my other Rider Hero series figures are like that. Or my movie monster series or Sentai Hero series. None of them are like that. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt there and saying that's just mine. Anyway, now let's get into size comparisons. First up from the Rider Hero series, let's embarrass him again with Kamen Rider Kabuto, or Dark Kabuto. And this is from 2006, K16, also Rider Hero series. Size-wise, they look perfect together. They look like they're from a different line because their paint jobs are so incredibly varying in quality. But scaling is perfect. And he's really just got to scale well with his own line. Next up is the Movie Monster Series Phase Variation Bataog from Shin Kamen Rider. Yes, this is the Movie Monster Series, not the Rider Hero series, but I do think they still work very well together. Yeah, he's bulkier, but he is more armored and has like these coattails and longer, pointier bits. This guy has a more basic look for a rider, and he is a villain that he could fight as well. So, yeah, you know, I think that works out. And I guess I did kind of show off Kamen Rider Zero earlier from the Movie Monster series, Shin Kamen Rider. So in case you're curious about that, he also works very well. Anyway, let's move on to one of the gimmicky lines. This one is specifically the best match line with Kamen Rider Build Rabbit Tank, who is too small. That is true. Oopsie. Then, the kind of articulated figure line, the Rider Kicks figure, Kamen Rider Zio, and the Rider Kicks figure line, or RKF line, is way too small, unfortunately. That's not going to work. So let's move him out of there. Trying to get through this one. I got stuff to do. I've sitting here and filmed a bunch of Kamen Rider reviews in a row, so now I gotta go. Next up is SH Figure Arts. I don't collect a lot of figure arts these days. The few I get are pretty much only Kamen Riders. So here is Kamen Rider Amazon Sigma, who sadly is also much too small. Oopsie. Let's get him out of there. And I have reviewed all the figures you just saw, and I've also reviewed all the figures you're about to see. Like the Sentai Hero series, 2 Kaiser. And I think that's pretty perfect too. Kamen Rider and Super Sentai crossover all the time, so this really works, and I'm glad it does. So he's going to look great with the Sentai Hero series. And next up, how about the Power Rangers Lightning Collection, Tyranno Sentry. You could kind of make that work. I can see it, you know. I could maybe kind of see it. Yeah, Saber is a little taller, but not like it by an unreasonable amount. I can see this working. And more for Power Rangers. Here's kind of a character that he would fight. The Hinge Man from the Hasbro Power Rangers Dino Fury line. Yeah, he's kind of small, but if you have a bunch of them all articulated up together, you could maybe make it work, but no guarantees on that one, because it is a little small. Then we have Ultraman. How about the quote-unquote all-new Ultra Hero Series Jeanbot? I know that the Ultras and Friends are giant kaiju fighters, but if you display all your Henshin heroes together, I want to show you several Ultraman lines that you might have in the same display with Kamen Riders. And this one, I think the 6-inch Ultramans, am I stupid? He's not an Ultraman anyway. But they would look like this, and it would look good. Then, you also have the Ultra Hero Series Orb, Ultraman Orb Thunder Breaster. This is the kind of Spark Doll size that a lot of things are now. And that's just really small. Then you have the Movie Monster Series Artificial Life M1. Also very small. Not really going to work that well. And last but not least, you have the Ultra Action Figure, or is it Ultra Action Hero? Ultra Action Figure line. Bloop. Ultraman Zero Beyond from Ultraman Geed. He's a little small. He's about the same as the figure art size, so I'm going to go with nah, not quite. Oh well. At least it'll be the same size as figure arts. And it would go well with that Kamen Rider build, too. But that is it for size comparisons. And if you want to check out that Super Sentai, all those Power Rangers and Ultraman reviews, I've reviewed all those as well. Everything you just saw in size comparisons, I believe I have reviewed. So, what are my final thoughts on the Rider Hero Series number 5 Kamen Rider Saber Dragonic Knight? The articulation is what you would expect. I give them props for the sword. Good touch. Necessary touch, and I'm glad they actually did it. Because a lot of these Rider figures don't have weapons in their hands. Sculpt is good, but the figure needs more paint. It needs to be fully metallic. It needs more of the red, because this is all supposed to be red. It's just very lazily painted. Also, they put the tag in a bad spot. I think they put it on the back of the neck there to help hide the hole. But then, when you cut the line, there's a lot of plastic sticking out, you know, from these hooks. A lot of that sticks out, and it's hard to press it in, because when you have one of these, see, his tag was right here, maybe? I'm actually having trouble telling where his tag was, which is a good thing. You just kind of push it in when it's a bit on a flatter surface, and then it's gone, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. With this guy, I had to do some work, because my finger doesn't fit in there. Maybe a kid's would, but I really had to do some work to get it down in there and hidden. But the hole is at least in a good spot, because like looking right at the back, you can't see it straight on. But it's hard to really get the plastic hidden in there. That, though, is something that they tried to do good on. But this paint, this is just cost-cutting for the sake of maximized profits. And yes, I know that making a figure for every rider form isn't cheap. I know that the tokusatsu art form is only kept alive by merchandise sales, and if they don't profit on merchandise, then Kamen Rider will probably either be canceled or replaced with an anime version. And I would much rather have the live action over anime. 100% always I would. I love the Toku art form dearly. It's a part of who I am. I grew up on it with Power Rangers and Godzilla and Gamera and Ultraman and stuff. But this paint is shit. It's shit. They tease us with the metallic on the chest and the head, and then they fuck us on the limbs. I mean, I didn't expect it to be perfect. I didn't even expect it to be fully painted on the back. This is a kid's figure. It's supposed to be a cheap kid's figure, and we judge kids' figures by kids' toy standards here. But if I was a kid, and I know because I have been one that collected Power Ranger toys and stuff, I would be disappointed by this paint job as a child. 100% I would. Especially if Bandai had also put out, like, look at these. Look at the paint on these guys. Bruh. I know these are older figures, but that kind of means that this guy should be an improvement, doesn't it? I mean, Look at this guy. He's newer, but those arms are fully painted. I mean, holy crap. This is a newer figure. That is full gold metallic, all down the legs and arms, and all on the back. Even if the back isn't perfectly painted. I mean, look. All the back on the hands are painted. Back of the belt's painted. Look at that. All that gold. These figures don't have much of an age difference to them. Why couldn't you be this? I know it's not your fault. It's Bandai's fault. I'm sorry. But this paint sucks. The paint job sucks. Everything else, I guess, is fine. But the paint job sucks on this guy so much. But that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. I gotta get back to work now. Doing my actual work. And I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.